That was a very impressive appearance today on television. Very courageous.
Oh, well, thanks. I don't have a lot of inside information about many things, but I know something about some things. It felt good to get it out.
I know that Eden and Julia were both very grateful that you agreed to do the show, in spite of how you feel about the Capwells. I also know that you pressured Keith into pressing charges against Dash Nichols, and for that I thank you.
Well, I hate what happened to me then a lot more than I hate the Capwells. They say the best way to stop feeling like a victim is to stop acting like one. I think that's what your ex-wife is trying to do. And I say more power to her. If I'd seen a show like that when I was a kid, maybe things would have been different.
You mean you might not have chosen a chauvinist like Keith?
I think I do a pretty good job of keeping him in line. I attract difficult men. You should know.
We had some pretty good times back then, didn't we? When we worked stabbing each other in the back.
I refuse to remember how crazy you drove me.
Oh, now let's see how that goes. I seem to recall a little poison in my Chinese takeout.
You know what it was? You just weren't my type. But since you decided to mention Keith and bring all that up, I've got a question for you. Just what the hell are you doing with Cassie?
Oh, be careful. She'll be walking in here pretty soon.
So, I don't care. So will Keith. She knows what I think of her.
She's been very good to me.
She reminds me of a vine that wraps itself around the tree, and before you know it, there's no tree left, just the vine.
You're on a hell of a roll, aren't you?
Well, they say speaking out is good for the soul. I think you were better off with Julia.
Julia doesn't think so.
What I don't understand. I mean, if I could forgive Keith for walking out on me for 2 years, why can't Julia cut you a little slack?
Apparently, Julia's slack was cut to the quick already.
I think it's great that in spite of everything, you've been standing by her through this. Must be awful for you.
Not as awful as it's been for her.
I'm sorry Dash wasn't convicted.
Oh, I think after today's television, he'll be convicted by public opinion. I believe that Mr. Nichols' life in Santa Barbara will not be very satisfying from now on.